Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today we're going to do the longest awaited video ever on my channel, which is the Ultra Agent secret base that will be hidden in the baggage car of my fast passenger train. Lovely! So here is my fast passenger train in all of its glory, with the baggage car near the back that I used stickers for to convert into kind of a mail wagon as its disguise. And it was always my intention to turn this into a goodie base, because heaven knows Nottingham has got far too many baddies in it already, and being on a train would allow quick access to absolutely anywhere for deployment. We've also got obviously the dome car on the back there, the other observation car on the front, and a buffet car there in amongst the normal carriages. But another reason for converting this mail wagon in the new city is because if I stop this in platform with its nose right up against the end, then we see that at the other end, oh golly, the train is just that tiny bit too long to allow the other one past it. And regardless of how I tried to orientate all of this in my city, this being the central station that will be on tables one day, I could never really fit it in, because I'm going to have roads crossing all of this as well, and, well, incorporating it into absolutely everything else. So if only my room was about 2 feet longer, we could keep it all in one piece. But what I'm going to do instead is basically remove this, so we solve that problem in one fell swoop, and have this deployed somewhere else, open position, with all the Ultra Agents goodies being deployed. Because otherwise we wouldn't know they were in there anyway. So I think that'll be a really interesting scene, and that is what we're going to build today. Okay, well, this project is about as old as they come for this channel. It was absolutely ages ago that I designed my City Mail branded baggage wagon with its double doors on each side to leave a huge space underutilized on the inside. And I think it was that video that I actually originally came up with the idea of utilizing all that space for a secret Ultra Agent goodie base to fight all of the baddies in my city, because let's face it, the super secret police just aren't up to scratch, are they? So yeah, and that makes it the oldest undone project, so I thought I'd resurrect it while the builders were in to do the new Lego room and actually get the design sorted. Much older than the Alien Cantina, which I still haven't started, or even the skate park, which I have started, but I just haven't got very far. So yeah, I must resurrect those ideas as well soon. Anyway, right, what have we got? We've got the donor wagon, of course, and the idea here is to change as little as possible on the outside. So although it'll be separate from the whole train, as I just explained, you know, it will look very much like it could or should join that when not deployed. So yeah, I want to have this looking pretty much unaltered. I think I'll need to change some stuff in the roof, but we'll see how different that looks. Hopefully not too bad. Now, there isn't much room to work with on the inside of this. I mean, it's 6 studs wide, and obviously the walls count for 2 of them. So we've only got the sort of 4 wide kind of cavity on the inside, almost outlined by these grey tiles. So it's not a great deal to work with. So we're going to have to be quite clever. And we're going to have to work out the best way of kind of, well, making it open up, kind of like a doll's house, for us to see all of the computer screens and kind of machines and devices that this would be stacked with. Yeah, there's not many options. My original idea was to kind of have a line down the middle where it would open up kind of like that, like a purse, I suppose, and the 2 sides would be open like the palms of my hands, and it would be completely open. But I didn't like that idea, because in a way it would block either of the railway lines or, well, whatever else was next to it, and take up a lot of space, and that's what we're limited for in any Lego city. So I thought I could do better, and I looked at all of the Lego police sets of all the sort of mobile command bases that they've done over the years, and a lot of them have this sort of central section that kind of folds up to make it a 2-tier base. So this whole side would go up to here and become the upper floor, and then it reveals the lower floor on the middle as well. So I thought that would be a really good idea. So we're going to have to be clever to keep this sort of door still in place and still sort of functioning as part of that movable section. And then the 2 ends are quite long, so I just thought they could kind of fold open with sort of hinge pieces, either that way or kind of that way. We'll have to see how that works. So that is the rough plan. So I have gathered a bag full of bits to achieve this, in addition to the ones we've already got. I've also got a few pieces from hauls over the months and years with all of these interesting stickers for screens and all sorts of Ultra Agent sort of logos and stuff like that, which I can use some of or none of, who knows. A couple of sticker sheets. This is a little one here with some logos on and some of that, whatever that is. And then we've got loads more screens and decoration on here from the great big mobile base that was part of the original line. And I'll probably have to chop up some of these screens because I don't think I've got room for one that big. But yeah, we could do some sticker surgery and get as many of these as possible crammed in, because I do like a bit of stickers, but none of them visible from the outside. Well, it'll just look like this. So that is our rough plan. Now, it was never my intention to collect Ultra Agents goodies, but they are quite good actually when you get them in your hands. Like a lot of Lego builds, you sort of look at the pictures and think, I'm not too sure about that, to be fair. But when you get them, you're like, that is actually quite cool. And that is definitely the case with the Ultra Agents goodies, which I've kind of accidentally collected alongside, well, buying sets for all the baddies, which I definitely wanted. So yeah, I've got quite a collection. Got all the sort of normal characters, all pretty much doubled up, to be honest, with their nice sort of uniforms. They're all wearing ties, which is very smart. He's not so smart because he's let his be undone. But, you know, these are the sort of guys you want rescuing you, really, with that sort of smart outlook. I've got another researcher. I'll probably use that in one of my labs in my deep sea cabinet or something, so I don't think we'll use him today. And then you get them more and more tooled up as they go in these sets. We've got these with this sort of body armor and these energy shields and guns and helmets and stuff. I mean, that's very cool if you ask me. We've got Kayla Phoenix here with her jetpack. Very nice indeed. And I've given her one of these sort of square shields. Got loads of those. I've been buying loads. Yeah, they've all got really interesting names as well, like Curtis Bolt, Jack Fury, is it? And Max Burns. And here we've got a kind of wingsuit. I got two of those, and then I started getting crazy with collecting the wing pieces, like I'd want a whole army of them. So I managed to move stickers onto the bottom of them as well, so they look really ultra decorated for Ultra Agents, so very appropriate, using, of course, my patented hot tea technique. Then we also have kind of Doc Ock style body armor, come sort of arm things that can hold shields and buzzsaws and stuff while he's just not doing anything at all with his hands. That's quite cool. Massive guns on yet another type of jetpack. Very cool indeed. So he could be defending the area. And if all the jetpacks so far weren't big enough, then accept no substitute with this one. Look at the size of it. I think there are official stickers that need to go on these two, but I don't have those. Yeah, I've got the little screen there on the middle, and this sort of folds over the man, and these are all tiltable and all the rest of it. So yeah, very cool indeed. So I'm going to be fitting some of these inside and some of them kind of around. Yeah, this guy's probably just guarding the area with his massive guns as a sort of defense mechanism. But I've got even more than that. Yeah, I've got two of the sort of robo dogs, so they can be on patrol as well. And I think this sort of colour scheme of all the different greys with this translight blue is really effective. So yeah, I'm going to have a real big scene by the end of this, aren't I, in the city? And I've even got some vehicles. This one's, well, a bit clunky to look at first of all. It's kind of a 4x4, yeah, so what? It's kind of got a winch on the back. But what's quite cool is that it's actually a little boat that can kind of fly off that and go into the water and be immediately deployed. So yeah, it's quite clever in a way. But the chance of me fitting this on the inside of our thing is 0 because, well, it's not 4 studs wide, is it? So yeah, I'll just have to put that back into storage, I guess. But one that I really do want to include on the inside is probably my favourite. And another version of Kayla Phoenix is driving this one, actually. And it's kind of almost like a Tron-style bike. I mean, check that out. We've got the tyres made out of these light blue pieces going around on the dishes. Guns on the front, guns on the side. Nice little sort of front arch bit here with the branding on. Handlebars, controls, and even little wings. And the reason why it's got little wings is because when this isn't sort of driving around like that, these turn 90 degrees like that, and then they become, well, kind of engines to make it fly. The wings deploy, and off it flies into the air. So, I mean, we can have one of these buzzing around on the outside of our thing as well. And I reckon if we fold this up very tight, it might even fit on the inside. So obviously I needed two, one to be flying in the air above the scene and another one to be folded up slightly. And on this one, I've just swapped the sides of those pieces. So we've got the wing sort of decoration visible when it's in folded up mode. So yeah, my objective is to try and get that kind of in there. And you can already see from the size, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a squeeze, isn't it? So what do I want? I want to get this on the inside, some of these dudes on the inside hard at work, loads of computer screens, big guns, and, well, as much stuff in there as possible. Oh, and probably some baddie storage system, some kind of, sort of back-to-tank of, freezing them, maybe? I don't know, whatever. That's a lot of... that's in a lot of Ultra Agent sets, so I kind of figure I want to do that. And I bet some of these stickers will be absolutely appropriate for decorating that. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. So I need to get building. Good, good. Well, it's quite a challenge actually keeping this looking the same on the outside whilst having loads of movable sections that create a mobile base and also having it hold together once you've done all that. You've got to work out where the strength will lie. Especially when you've got these great big gaps for the double doors. There's no strength there at all. So what I've had to do at the bottom front here is actually cut into this sort of grey level that you can see would have been a full brick on the original. So we've got at least two plates holding together that edge, because otherwise, well, it's just going to fall apart whenever you try and open it. So this side is going to be largely unchanged. You can see I've just put one Technic kind of cross brick on the back there, but otherwise looks normal. So that's going to be the relatively boring side. And this side is going to open up with that hatch at the front. And you see I've got tiles here for the connection points for the two hinged doors on the ends, because I reckon you're going to want to have a gun being kind of trained out of each of those to protect the scene. Heaven forbid the enemies should come from you from behind, then you're probably out of luck. But as long as they come from the front that you're ready for them at, everything will be fine. So that's the plan. Anyway, right, so why have I put this great big Technic sort of hook on the back? That is for my vehicle storage. Basically, the only way I thought I could get this in was in the centre section, for obvious reasons, and the only way I can get it in there and not use up the entire lower section is to have it kind of wall mounted. Maybe it comes out very cleverly, just like on a Marvel movie or something like that. So it's actually got this kind of exhaust piece on the original build, actually. I don't know if it was connected into anything in the original build, but basically that can slide onto that piece, and it's kind of wall mounted, like you might put your bicycle in your garage against the wall or something to save space. That's what they're doing here. So we've still got some room around here for people to stand and be hard at work. And it also uses that tiny bit of space that is in the doorway, because the doors are right on the front of these slide pieces. So it actually makes best use of that kind of half stud gap in there. So the idea being that when we sort of put these sliding doors back in, which will be permanently closed, I suppose, on this side, that they all fit and close just like on a normal build with that, yes, thing in place. So that looks relatively normal. Recognise that. We've got a slight bit of Technic showing there, but not really very much. And then here we've got our wall-mounted flyer. Absolutely great. We'll have to think of a name for that. What's that? A hover bike, jet bike, something like that. So that is very cool indeed. I like it already. So yeah, now the upstairs that's going to fold down has to be very low profile and dovetail with this perfectly, because, well, it's got a great big obstacle to fit around. So we're going to have to be really clever indeed. I mean, we haven't got a great deal of height to play with either. So yeah, that is the ongoing challenge. So I'm going to disconnect that for now, continue with the sides, and then, well, we'll work out how on earth we're going to put that top section in. Cool. Good fun, though. All right, onto the two ends. And I've got steps, first of all, so we can get up into those sections. And this one, I've added a couple of studs on the side there. This is all going to be covered by the hatchway, so we can't really go into that space. Apart from when it's in open position, one will be mounting this great big laser cannon, and that is going to be attached here, so it can really fold back into the available space when it's not in use, and then kind of fold out with somebody who could wield it. Maybe this guy. think this guy's called Trey Cool, which is a Trey Cool name if you ask me. So he'll be something like that. I can connect that in due course, but that's looking very good. And I tried to keep the color schemes and the kind of build style of the original Ultra Agent set, so it really looked like it went with them and was part of the range all along. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I've got a bit more space along this side, so I thought when it was in deployed mode would need loads of telecommunications sort of equipment, so I want a great big aerial, but it also needs to fold away, so I've put it on a ball joint so it can fold right the way down and use some of this space along the front. So I'm kind of going to put that about there. And with all these things, I've been using Lego Digital Designer to see if it will concertina into position, having never built it in real life before, and apparently it will. So, well, this build will be the proof of that sooner or later. So it's a little bit fragile, but there we go. So that can bend down in down position or be up in up position. And that will probably get in the way for the rest of today's build. But anyway, there we go. Let's see how many times I knock it off. I've kind of done one already. Now, on the other side, I wanted a baddie containment device. And originally, I wanted to use these pieces that were sent in on one of my brick calls by a subscriber. And they're a bit big. They are nice and green, but they are a bit big. So I'll plan to use those in a different build. They kind of go together like that. So yeah, maybe ideas for that. It kind of looks like it's full of slime, doesn't it? Maybe that needs to be in my deep sea cabinet laboratory in the rocks there with this guy. So I'll put that with him for now. And I love his concerned face. But anyway, I've pilfered the stickers off those pieces because they were really good. And I've used them instead on a trans light blue piece because that keeps the color scheme of the original. And they've kind of got these sort of Mendy robot arms. So maybe it's actually repairing damaged Ultra Agents rather than containing baddies, or maybe it's dissecting baddies, I don't know. But anyway, and I've put one of the agent stickers on from my big sticker sheet onto the end there as well. So, well, whichever way it gets used, I think it looks very appropriate. Better colour scheme really than those great big green pieces. So that can fit on this whole section here, which represents the other end. So that will get clipped onto those studs there. That will go down onto there. And we've got a nice tank built into that end section that's the same shape as the original. And that can all go onto there. And yeah, I think that's about right. And then that can go on top of that, leaving the original pattern completely intact there. And again, we haven't used any of this row of studs that's going to have that door, so that's how you'll get in there. So yeah, it's a bit higgledy-piggledy. I mean, we're really having to cram this in, so it's not going to be absolutely perfect. But I like that. Now, we've only got one gun, but I didn't want to have one on each side, because in a way that'd be duplicating and, well, a bit boring. So yeah, I'm liking this already. We've got loads of good stuff. So I think we've got room for some sort of scientific or analysis type equipment here, and probably in here as well. And then we can get on with that sort of well, the hatch doors on these sides, and then the hatch section in the middle. Cool. Right, well, as ever, I've probably overfilled this, but that is my build style. I buy far too many pieces and then use them all at once. So I've managed to squeeze a computer screen in there, which is quite a pleasing one, if you can see that, with a minifigure sort of dotted outline on it. Maybe that's part of his targeting system, and he's got somebody in his sights. They won't be around for long. I've also got a table in there. That's about all I could fit in there, with the all-important cup of tea. And on there is some of Antimatter's plans to do with his, I don't know, devices that seem to turn good people into bad people. And then on the other side, I've used a slime sticker from this sticker sheet to represent some of the slime probably left around by Toxicita, one of the other baddies, for viewing on this microscope build on another table in there. And that's about all I've got room for there as well. So that is the bottom, packed and stacked. And now I've got two doors mirroring the original build, at least in pattern. Obviously, we've got these two sort of hinge bits sticking out now, but that's relatively unavoidable. And they will fit on these studs and then fit into the sides, looking pretty normal. I'm going to have this one permanently open, at least. Knocked that off. That's number 4 now. I did one earlier. That is going to have to stay open if we're going to have Trey Cool with his gun. But you get the same idea. I've got one shot on this side so you can see it. We've still got access there. So yeah, that's the doll's house action. And then I can put on the roof. So I need to secure these in with these sections here. And this is part of the roof, but also part of the mechanism that's going to hold the pivoting section on the top. Basically, I'm going to put a Technic axle in there. And then there'll be two things for everything else to sort of spin around on. But I'll leave that off for now and just push that on there. And then another weird thing that I've got this time, for the first time in any of my builds, is 1x5 plates. What? How about that? For a Lego purist, this is kind of a blasphemy. Should be a 2 and a 3 or a 1 and a 4, but not a 1x5. But to be honest, on these door sections, it actually gives a bit more strength because there's lots of little pieces involved. So yeah, 1x5s are probably quite welcome. So that's going to go in there underneath these roof sections, just like on the original again. So, yeah, these didn't even exist when I came up with the idea of doing this build. So there we go. So that should still open. Yep. And it should also still look like the end of the train carriage. And then the same on the other side. Where's my other 1x5? So that goes there. Oop, fallen off. Let's do both of these at once. Give it a bit more strength, won't it? Will it fit in? It's the problem with doing building live. This is why I pause it in between, because all sorts of things can go wrong. There we go. Nearly had the doors falling out. I think it's gone together. So that would shut there. Yeah, needs a bit of pushing down, doesn't it? But you get the idea. So that is looking pretty good if you ask me. At the end, I'll show you it all sort of packed away and looking normal. And then when we get it into the city eventually, it'll have all of the doors open and everything in action pose with all of these all around it. But that is looking pretty good if you ask me. I like that great deal. So that is the bottom level done. Now we can do the top level kind of separately, put it on those pivot points and have it flip up and flip down. Very cool. Add the wheels, we're sorted. Okie dokie, so this is the next section of our build, and it is pretty funny looking, isn't it? Why is it so ugly, Robin? Well, it's got to do many different jobs at once, this piece. First of all, it's got to mirror around the outside bit that we'll see around the doors, the original build, so when it's in position like that, it'll look pretty good when the doors are in place. These four little gaps here are to accommodate the little tabs that are on the back of these doors that kind of hold them in closed position. So they'll kind of be like that, and the other one next to it. So yeah, I didn't want to chop those bits off or anything like that. So yeah, it needs to accommodate that. And on the other side, we've got lots of different details. We've got some fork pieces, some clips, and that's all to hold things together when it's in its open position. I've got a couple of stickers already put on for the control room, basically from that big sticker sheet, and a couple of brackets here so it can be, so we've got some flashing signs at the top. So this piece is going to go here in closed position and then flip all the way up here in open position, where it will be upside down, studs on bottom rather than studs on top. So yeah, it's quite complicated to build. And this section in the middle is for screens. Now I had to be really careful with this because when it's in closed position, this buggy is so big that it's actually protruding into the gap on this side as well. And I was worried that it would spoil on some screens even more, because when I did this in Lego Digital Designer, it wasn't sagging under its own weight, so it's in a slightly different position. It kind of should be up here, but because of its weight, it's sort of down here. Digital designers don't take account of real life situations. It seems it's just a sort of perfect situation. Oh, look, my aerial's fallen off again. That must be about 6 or 7 by now. Anyway, yeah, so I need some screens in here, but I need to leave a bit of a cavity on the other side. So what I'm going to do is mount them this way around, kind of like that, so with the sticker on the inside of it, so when it's in position, there's still some of that cavity visible. And obviously, because this is studs on bottom when it's in its open position, I've had to put the stickers on kind of upside down, if you see what I mean. So this screen here is just 2 of the stickers from my big sticker sheet, sort of chopped in bits. I think they were supposed to go on 1x2x5 bricks. So I've just taken sections that were most interesting and put 2 side by side on that. So that looks like a really interesting sort of person scan with some molecules and stuff like that. Then on this side, this was a screen from that sticker sheet as it was. Ooh, it's got to be upside down, isn't it? So there we go. And that has got Cyclone's hurricane mech on it. That's the sort of really weird vehicle actually from 70164. So I thought I'd put that on that side. And then in the middle, I was going to do a third one. I got a third panel piece to move this sticker onto. But then, as it turned out, this isn't a sticker on this piece of glass. It is actually a print. I didn't know that. So that came from 70169, the Agent Stealth Patrol vehicle from 2015. And yeah, so basically what I did was just augment that, because it was kind of an empty screen, with one of the smaller stickers from that sheet again, and put it on the inside of a frame, again at the back and again upside down. But these frames do take glass in either orientation, thankfully, so I can still use it in a central position and it doesn't spoil on the vehicle. So that's good. So when I put all this back together again, you'll see we've got a really interesting looking sort of backboard for the control room in open position. And one thing I've just forgot to add is these doors back in. So we'll push those into all of their spaces. Yeah, this is the bit that took the time. So when it's closed like that, push it all back down carefully. We have got our backdrop there with the screen seeing through to the back of those doors, and the outside, hey, you see, now it looks absolutely like the other side. Very nice indeed. You wouldn't know it was in there, would you? So that is going to flip up to there and look rather special. And then I thought that this area at the top looked a bit plain. So I've got two of these stickers, because sometimes I just buy things because I think, oh, there's got to be a use for that in the future. And here is that use. Alert! Alert! You can imagine a sort of flashing alarm going off as well. So they just came from the set 6860, the Batcave from 2012. And I think they are very, very appropriate to a situation that is fast unfolding. Right, so that is going to go up to there. Now I need to have kind of the floor bit, which will have all of the seats on it and all the people working. And that I have done here because it's very complicated indeed. That is following kind of the style of one of those police HQ vehicles, but I've done it slightly different in my own colour scheme and with a few different pieces. So we've got T-mugs, we've got keyboards, we've got mouse, we've got a yellow post-it note, essentially. We've got some more stickers for the Ultra Agents. And this bit's going to be studs, well, right way up when it's open and wrong way up when it's closed. It's kind of the opposite to this. This one's got studs on the bottom, this one's got studs on the top, but the connection points are all aligned. So we've got bar there and then the fork sort of holder there. So then, hopefully without smashing it all into pieces, I can clip one onto the other in all four places and make that, yeah, a solid piece. So it's kind of an L-shaped thing that's going to pivot on these pivot points here. And that looks absolutely great, doesn't it? It looks like loads going on there. Haven't had all that together myself yet. That looks cool. So we've got two kind of seats here. They have to be really low profile because obviously it's all got to fit in kind of the gaps of everything down here in closed position, but looks really good. And there is the outside, and that is the top. Now, the top is different, isn't it? I mean, we were never going to avoid that. For a start, it has to be flat, so when it's open, it can sit on this lip here. I did ideally want to do it in white, and you can get this bit in white, you can get these bits in white. Obviously, you can get 1x2 plate in white. I think you can get these in white, but these are the problem. They're very, very rare in white. So I thought grey would look all right, just as a sort of different colour there on a baggage wagon. So basically, roughly, he says jiggling it into position. What's out of position now? I think that's all right. There we go. It's in, and that will be how it looks. Now, also, I haven't put on these bits yet, but that's where it's going to pivot. So let's do that, because you need to put it kind of all on at once. So that's going to go in there. Just hold that in place for now. And that is going to go on there. It's all a bit wobbly. Do I want to do this live? Oh, yeah, it's in. And then, push down. And there we go. Well, it's a bit spoilt by this being open. I could yank that off, I suppose. But you see, there's the side that we haven't played with, apart from adding that tiny axle hole there. And there's the side we have. And they look the same, bar a few minor details. Very cool indeed. Obviously, these don't open, but this does. Da-da-da! Hey! So this is the scene that it's going to look... yeah, I have to have it deployed, don't I? I like the fact that I can close it. I could have made it so it just looked really glorious open with the suggestion that it could close maybe and not have it actually genuinely work. But I don't know, I prefer it actually genuinely working. It makes me feel a lot better about it, but that is cool. So I guess they'd have to put a temporary ladder to get up there or climb up this thing. I haven't actually thought about that. I think whatever I put hanging off here is not going to fold in, so it would have to be temporary, wouldn't it? Yeah, maybe ideas for that. But then I can have in open position a couple of people working away in a very smart ties. Let's have one there. Let's have this lady here. And maybe we have a sort of boss man kind of making sure everyone's doing their job. Who should we have? Him? Like that. And they're all looking at their screens, working out what the alert is all about. And then we have everyone else buzzing around the outside. So I think that looks rather fantastic. Wow. Good use of stickers, I think. I almost want to put more on. I've got absolutely loads more, but I don't know. It's a bit hard without spoiling the look for when it's closed. But yeah, do tell me what you think of that. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, maybe I need some sort of rope ladder down or something like that will just sort of naturally fold when it's closed. But yeah, it won't close with the people sat down, of course, because, well, obvious reasons. They'd have to go and sit elsewhere in the train when it's actually connected. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Very nice. I'm glad it works. That's the main thing. The main thing is that this has a nice slam shut. And what I did here was try to continue the sort of grey stripes that go along the top of the train, have them sort of coming out along the edges here and then going back in. That's why I've got these slopes on here. And I think that works rather well. I mean, it does still look like a train wagon, albeit slightly unsymmetrical now with these bits on, but that is totally unavoidable. Cool. I'm happy. Let's get these wheels on. You know, sometimes I'm quite impressed with my own abilities, you know. Getting this folded in was an absolute chore, but it's worked, so I'm really happy. And I think this scene looks absolutely great. This is how I think it'll look. A couple of people standing on the roof, sort of on guard. A couple of robo dogs going around, one sniffing, the other one's behind. And then we can have these two wingsuit ones, maybe in a different scene in the city, because I think they're really good looking and they'll look really good from below as well if they are hung from the invisible thread from the ceiling. So I'll put those to one side. And I reckon the other two flyers, this sort of big jetpack and the other flyer, have to be associated with this scene, so we kind of make sense of the one that's stored on the inside, and we'll have those on high bricks kind of whizzing around the whole area. So I think that'll look really good. So yeah, what have we done then? Well, we have made an awesome disguised HQ for our Ultra Agents with baddie storage on one side, or maybe repair for goodies, I don't know. And I really like those stickers that came on those big green pieces before. Those were really useful, even if the pieces don't get used in the future. We've still got the original disguise on the outside, storage for transport and scientific experiments on the inside, the gun port for Trey Cool on there. You don't want to get in his way. That is a very powerful ion cannon, I reckon. And then the main alert center, full of stickers and screens and keyboards and all the rest of it. Everything branded, lots of space for everyone, and it all closes up. So yeah, that is a very big achievement if you ask me. And I think that'll be a really good, interesting scene. And probably more important than all of that, I've ticked off from my list of to-dos, which is ridiculously long, one of the oldest projects that I said I might do. So I'm very happy with that. And now our fast passenger train does fit in the city. So it's ticked off about 5 problems as well, all in one fell swoop. So I'm very happy with that. Do tell me what you think. Do tell me if you can think of a way that I can get a nice ladder in here. Otherwise, I might leave it up to the imagination that they can get up there on their own. And there's one more thing that's really cool, that I've liberated a few of these white roof pieces now, because it used them obviously all the way along before. And I needed 2 of these for that recent Black Widow helicopter to make it into something for the super secret police. So effectively now I've got an improved SSP, an improved Ultra Agents, meaning there's lots of goodies to help defeat all the baddies, which the best thing is, that gives me license to buy even more baddies on my brick haul. Yay! Well, I'm very happy with this build indeed. I can't stop looking at it from different angles and kind of playing with it. So I think we'll have to have it on some of the track section that's on the front side of the new city, so it's visible from, well, all angles, from the rear as well, where it also looks quite good in its open position. That's probably something I haven't shown you. Draws the eye, makes you think, ooh, what's going on there? So yeah, that'll be really good. And then we can have all the things buzzing around it, as I say, on that front view, and it looked rather special if you ask me. So yeah, looking forward to that, but it won't be placed in the city for too long because I've got far too much infrastructure to put in place first. But as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome Lego builds. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. Your support is appreciated. Next time on Robin Hood Bricks, we'll be doing a haul on Wednesday on our sister channel, Brick Haul O'Clock, and then another build on the weekend, whether it be Friday, Monday, or whatever, is open to fate, I guess. But until then, see you! Do robot dogs still sniff each other? I guess they must.